Hey everybody, Charlie Chittister at Midwest Family Lending. Good to be back. We're going to cover Learn to Live, and one of the items in here is going to be understanding your credit. What, how, everything that goes into it. So let's go with a silly example, but very accurate. Let's say we know each other and you loan me $20. Alright, well you're loaning me $20 because you trust and know me, and so therefore you expect me to pay you back. What if I don't pay you back, say this week or next week, whenever we promised that I'd do so? If I don't do that, what are the odds of you loaning me 20 bucks again? I would think slim. And if you did, it'd be risky that you're not going to get it back, just like the first time. That's exactly what mortgage companies, banks, credit unions, anybody who's going to lend money, they're going to look at you, but they don't know you. So how do they do it? Alright, so you go to get your first car, the bank and credit union wants to take and know you're going to be a good risk. That's your credit. So your credit has got a profile, a history, and a score, or it should. So how do we get those three things to reflect positively and as we want to take and have it when people look at us to lend us money? So credit is your financial resume. It has all your information from where you lived, where you worked, your name, your birthday, your social, has all that stuff together. It's all held at the three credit repositories, Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. Now they all have different ways of looking at your information, but they do look at it. They have algorithms. If you want more information on that, Google it. There's a ton of it out there. They measure mostly the same, but slightly differently between each of those three bureaus. But they measure with what types of accounts you have, how many you have, do you make payments on time, how much do you keep in balances. They look at everything you've done, and they judge you on those, and then they calculate your scores accordingly. Alright, well, the other big key is when does it start? And this is a little bit tricky because you really have a credit profile right now, but most everything's going to start at your legal age, which is 18. So if you get a car loan, okay, great, that's going to show up if it's in your name or if you co-sign with mom and dad. If you get a credit card, or maybe your first thing that shows up is your student loan for college. Doesn't matter, but it's going to start showing whenever you sign the line that says, I promise to pay you, and here's how I'm going to do so. They're going to start reporting that to the credit bureaus. Now, other information just on your profile is already going to be there. And so that's accumulating right now. Another thing you're going to look at when you turn 18, let's say you got a cell phone in your name, or any type of monthly bill that you are responsible for. The other type of credit that gets reported is a collection or a judgment. So you have accounts, and then you have just negative items from things that you owed people that you didn't pay them, and so they file something against you stating, there's an IOU out there that you haven't made good on. So when you look at how long all this information lasts, that's another big key that I really want to stress. There's no do-overs. This is a computer system that doesn't care about excuses or circumstance. They just know you either did or didn't, and either have or haven't for what types of information is there. So they're going to keep track of that 7 to 10 years, sometimes even longer than that. Alright, so that's the what. Let's go into the why. And why is just as important because everybody looks at credit. You're going to have it for your first job. If the first employer you go to loves what you have done, loves your skill set, loves your grades, loves everything else you've done, but they pull your credit and it's really bad, they may deny you the job. Good credit is extremely easy if you understand, I owe people this, I have these responsibilities, and you make good on those responsibilities. Your employers are going to want to see that in your credit score as well. You're also going to look at your first apartment or your first mortgage or whatever it's going to be for your housing. That landlord or that institution is going to look at your credit and they're going to judge you accordingly. You're also going to look at other financial pieces, which we'll go through a little later, but you've got insurances, credit cards, utility accounts. All those people are going to look at your credit. Alright, so we know the what and why. Now, how do you do it? And how? Well, it can be a little tricky, but it's really quite easy if you just work to understand how those accounts work. So when you go to get a car loan, don't just get the first thing you see or the first thing that comes to mind, you be instantaneous, I gotta have it. Make sure you understand the terms. So, get a car loan that you can afford, because that monthly payment's going to get reported each time you pay or don't pay. As you pay it down, it's going to show good consistency that you do so. Same thing with credit cards. Don't get the very first one just because they gave you the offer. Understand that account. Understand what are the terms, how do I make my payments, what's my limit, and don't use all those funds if you don't need them just because you want to buy the newest, shiniest thing. You got to buy things responsibly and make sure you try to get that bill paid in full every month. that information is going to get collected and sent to the credit bureau as well. So when you have the accounts, that is a big key, because you got to have a variety as well. They like to take and see installment loans like cars, mortgages, student loans. They like to see revolving accounts like lines of credit or credit cards. They also like to take and see that you keep these accounts for long periods of time, or at least consistently. You're not just opening and closing all the time. So types, how you maintain your payments, how you maintain your balances, and that you keep these accounts. You don't just cycle new ones in and out all the time. So consistency, as crazy as it sounds, being a little bit boring, but you get it, you keep it, you pay it, it shows consistent. Good credit is very, very easy to maintain. Just don't overextend yourself and live up to what you've told people you'll do. So as much as people think credit is, oops, I screwed up, I can do a do-over and I can start fresh when I get my new job or I get out of college, you got to remember, your credit starts at 18 years old. You have a profile before then, but when those credit scores start recording with your accounts, your payment history, your balances, collections if you don't pay other bills, all that information is going to stay on there for a long time. So do the best you can to understand what you've got, maintain your bills, pay everything on time, and be basically a good steward of whatever monies people lend you, and you'll be in great shape. We'll see you next time.